The sheep's voice warbles. You realize it's trying to say bar. The smell of rot assaults your senses as the illusion vanishes. A diminutive creature sporting a red hat glares at you. He seems unaware that his illusion has failed.
Nosy, scum-sucking, lice-ridden little ball bag! Get out! Or I bite tongue, eat tongue. Oh, delicious tongue! Ha! I bleed ya, cut ya, make many delicious holes. Yes, yes!
Something bit me.
Just an insect. I'm sure you'll survive. Besides, it probably figured you for a tasty treat.
Give me an aboleth over a midge any day. My dogs are barking. Can we rest?
Speak.
If you must know, Vlaakith requires everything of her children. I can't count how many bruises I've inflicted. Can't measure how much blood I've drawn in the Undying Queen's name. I know only blood red and death black. My mind is silver, and my body steel. I am what I must be, say what I must be, to survive every beast I face and every wound I bear.
Oakfather's blessings to you. I studied one up close. Closer than most would care to be to those things. A drow attacked me and I defended myself. Afterwards, I was able to examine the tadpole that emerged. Hideous, but fascinating. Like nothing else in nature, I'm glad to say. It's had the whole region around Moonrise Towers in a chokehold of darkness and despair for years now. Those who remained are shadow-cursed. If you don't die at their hands, then you become one of them. We have to get to Moonrise, but the less time we spend in its blighted surrounds, the better. Precious little, but I'm quite certain it can still be found.
Aradim was convinced there was a hidden entrance in the Temple of Selûne. I'd start there.
Well, there's hardly anyone left to share the responsibility with. Few who witnessed the fall of Moonrise still draw breath. What Ketheric Thorm unleashed is not something that nature can undo by itself. I must do what I can. I studied the Shadow Curse for years, but to truly understand it and stop it, I must reach its source.
Perhaps. But we'll need to get closer before I can put my theory into practice. Put it from your mind for now. Once we near the curse, then there will be more to be said.
Wonderfully. If I'm honest, the grove was too comfortable for my tastes. I felt removed from nature. I'll miss my books, but I can find all the wisdom they contain out here, firsthand.
Is that so? Well, nature does abhor waste. I will keep watch, thank you. I had a feeling time in your company would prove fruitful.
You don't sleep well, flitting between dreams and nightmares. Maybe you wake up because you know something is wrong. Or maybe you just get lucky.
Shit. No, it's not what it looks like. I swear. I wasn't going to hurt you. I just needed, well, blood.
There, in the dim firelight, you see him for what he really is. A vampire, a slave to sanguine hunger.
I've never killed anyone. Well, not for food. I feed on animals. Boars, deer, kobolds, whatever I can get. But it's not enough. Not if I have to fight. I feel so weak. If I just had a little blood, I could think clearer, fight better. Please.
A strange sensation courses through you, and your companion's mind unfolds, secrets half revealed.
At best, I was sure you'd say no. More likely, you'd ram a stake through my ribs. No. I needed you to trust me. And you can trust me. Thank you. Do you think you could trust me just a little further? I only need a taste. I swear. Really? Of course. Not one drop more. Let's make ourselves comfortable, shall we?
It's like a shard of ice into your neck. A quick, sharp pain that fades to throbbing numbness. Your breath catches, your pulse quickens. You lean into him, losing yourself. You can feel your blood racing, coursing through both your bodies. A gentle, numb feeling starts to spread. You feel a little cold, but that's all. There's no more pain, no more fear, no more struggle. It's all over.
Oh no. Something terrible's happened. You're here? Thank goodness. I was worried about you. You looked a little ill last night, but you've certainly recovered. God damn it! I understand you're upset, but let's not get carried away. Killed feels like a strong word. Not many corpses have your vigor. Now, I admit I got carried away last night. I apologize. But look at you now, perfectly healthy. So let's not fall out over this. We still need each other, after all. That's the spirit. A team once again. And of course, what happened last night shall never be repeated. Now, was there anything else? Why do you insist on exhuming the past? I was a slave. A vampire spawn. Kept by the Tsar family. Perhaps I still am. I was never able to resist their commands. But now, I've been conveniently lost. They won't ever control me again. It's simple. Just find a vampire that will drink your blood and turn you into a vampire spawn. Their obedient puppet. In theory, the next step is to drink their blood. Once you've done that, you're free and a true vampire. Yes and no. The problem is, once you're a vampire spawn, they completely control you. They have to allow you to bite them. And why would they do that? Vampires are power-hungry creatures. They won't lose a servant to create a competitor. Trust me, it doesn't happen. I've already apologized. What more do you want? Unless you're looking for another nibble. No innocence. You have my word. Only villains that we need to kill anyway. After all, you know what I am now. I can fight with all my weapons, teeth included. And if I happen to drain the occasional bandit during a fight, what's the harm? They're just as dead. As am I. I'm starting to feel a little peckish already.
May the darkness protect you. Fine. What's on your mind?
I don't think I've ever had a confidant quite like you. And if I have, I can't remember them. After all, what I shared with you about my past, about being saved from the wolf, that is not something I would normally even dream of sharing.
I suppose some would commend our actions. Goblins would have razed that whole place to nothing if it weren't for us. No excuse to rest on our laurels, though. We've still got our own problems to contend with.
So, you're not in full control of your faculties? If you think it might happen again, warn me. I would hate to have to kill you.
My, you startled me. I, was miles away. More or less. I was lost in prayer, of all things. Mystra, for indeed it was her image I conjured, commands all magic. Salvation, if such a thing exists, is hers to bestow or withhold. And yet even now, more than I fear losing my own self and soul, I fear losing my command of her art. Magic is my life. I've been in touch with the weave for as long as I can remember. There's nothing like it. It's like music, poetry, physical beauty, all rolled into one and given expression through the senses. Would you like to experience this? Disinterest is such a disheartening condition. Always a pity when opportunities slip us by. Good night.
I don't want a crumb left on that plate, girl.
Auntie Ethel, please. One more bite and this pie is gonna come back up to say hello.
Don't make me get the wooden spoon. You're eating for two, so get to it. If it isn't the cheekiest pup of them all, you best have one hells of an apology for me, young man. How shocking. Another barbarian with all brawn and no brains. You know, I was gonna give you a swift kick up the arse and show you the door, but I think you and I could have a bit of fun together. Gods grant me patience. Eat up, Mayrina. I won't say it again.
My brothers, you saw them.
They stopped by to pass on their congratulations. Said they'll be waiting for you at home.
Oh, but why didn't they come in to see me?
All they left was a message, which I passed on, didn't I? Don't be stressing. And you, hush. Don't be upsetting the girl with such things. You cheeky thing. Sutton Farm, north of Baldur's Gate. Check if you like. But I think you have bigger problems. That wriggler swimming in your brain juice is a bit of an inconvenience, isn't it? Because you stink. And I know the stench of mind flayer anywhere. I can tell you're almost done cooking. You know, you could turn just like that. What do you say? Want me to take care of the little bugger? A devil? Spare me. Blathering windbags in love with the sound of their own voices. I'm the safer bet. Plus, you'll get to keep your soul. Well, that depends on the job. Removing a parasite is no small feat. But I like you, Petal. So I'll only ask for something small. One of your pretty little peepers. I pluck it from your head, kiss it for luck, then back in it goes. Won't take but a moment. That is my price. Nothing more, nothing less. A touch, but sure you've two eyes in your skull, don't you? No need to be precious. I'm afraid that's my business, Petal. It's nothing nefarious, though. I promise.
Ethel, can I please?
Quiet, you've had enough pampering. My door is always open, Petal. Auntie Ethel is here for you. Hello, sweetness. You going to give me one of those precious peepers? Ta-ta, Petal.
Thing's an illusion. We could get through here.
Fuck yes.
They're dying for me. All of them. You've made a grave mistake.
Bye-bye, Lovelace.
Hag can't have gone far.
You are as thick as they come, sweetness. This is my personal playhouse, and you don't have an invite. Get out! Has that wriggler eaten your brain already? Leave. Or you'll end up in tonight's stew. You'll go nicely with Mayrina. She's already marinating. Ah!
What is this place?
Stop, please.
You feel crushing waves of fear as the presence within the door recoils. It can't let people through, not again. A scene appears in your mind. 2 paladins and a cleric marching through the door, shrouded in the glow of the divine. Weapons brandished, they charge into the hag's lair. Screams of terror pierce the air.
You let them in? Naughty. That's a decade for each. You're mine for 30 more years, Petal.
You see an image of blue skies and sunshine as the door shudders a warning. Run. Its form flickers, and you realize that the door is transparent. You see the hag, She walks through the door, its form shimmering. The lightest touch of hope brushes your mind as the presence within retreats.
No, no! Don't look! Mustn't look, mustn't see! I see it! I see what's to come.
You realize there's magic at work. Some type of spell. An illusion.
Me. Dead. Dead! Flesh rotten, bone shining! Lies! Lies! I see it! See truth, see death! All future! Always ask. Never good. Never see. Never. Gods, don't hurt me. Oh, please. Please. Please, please, please. Monster. Monster! For mind dripping, flesh peeling, mind flayer! No! No! Mind flayer! Get away! Get away!
No intention of letting that happen.
Stop! Please!
There, in the cage.
You come to my home, interfere in my business, and now have the gall to face me in the heart of my lair? You petulant bollocks! I'll rip your spine out your asshole! I'll use your blood to spice my stew! I'll keep you alive until I've sucked the marrow from your bones! And then I'll bring you back and do it all over again!
Just get out of here! Please!
You want the girl so bad? Fine.
She'll be roast like a goose if that fire isn't put out. No time like the present.
You bastard! You ruined it! You ruined everything! Ethel was going to bring my husband back. Back from the dead. And now I'll never see him again. Because of you! This... just a bit longer and my child would have been born. And all this would have been over. This was the best chance I had. For me and my baby. Auntie Ethel promised to give this child a good life. Teach them magic, even! More than I could have done. She said I'd make a bad mother. I think she was right. Now I'll have to drag Connor's coffin all the way home. It's the only way this child will ever meet their father. I hope you're happy. Gods, didn't hear you coming. I know I should head home, but I can't bring myself to leave. The thought of putting him in a wheelbarrow and making the journey all over again. Not even a little bit. But I will be. We were just kids when we met. I might have pushed him off a swing I wanted. He got right up and pushed me back. I was so surprised that I just laughed. He did too. We've barely spent a day apart since. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I couldn't bring you back. Gods, didn't he? The thought of putting him in a wheelbarrow and making the journey all over again. What? You can?
You feel a surge of power from the wand. The air suddenly tastes acrid. It wants to be used.
Bring it back! Bring Connor back! Please! What? What's happening? Why is he still dead?
You feel something pull at you. The creature yearns for a master.
What have you done to him? But this isn't what she promised. I wanted him back the way he was, not this. No! Don't put him in the ground. He is afraid of the dark. I'll do it. I'll take him. You don't know that. He could still be in there. And I gotta try. Maybe someone in Baldur's Gate can help us. Connor always said you can find anything in that city. I'll figure something out. Come on, love. Let's go.
My condition likes being ignored as little as I do. I must consume another artifact. And soon. Perhaps I'm not conveying the urgency of the situation. It's incredibly, world-shatteringly important you give me a suitable artifact. Please. Of course. I'd hate for you to think me impatient or ungrateful. I shall persevere, for now. What's on your mind? Apart from finding me an artifact to consume, which I assume you're pursuing with the appropriate urgency. That is most gratifying to hear. May I? Thank you. Good gods. It hardly has any effect. Oh, Mystra, have mercy on us all. Listen, I need to speak to you, to all of you. It would be unconscionable of me to remain silent. And the waste it might have been. You have to know who I was. You have to know who I really am. What I am is a walking shadow of the promise I once held. I'm what one might call a wizard prodigy. Who from an early age could not only control the weave, but compose it. Much like a musician or a poet. Such was my skill that it earned me the attention of the mother of magic herself. The Lady of Mysteries. The goddess Mystra. She revealed herself to me and she became my teacher. In time, she became my muse. And later, even my lover. Oh, yes. We enjoyed each other's company. Body, mind, and soul. But even so, I desired more. You see, no matter how powerful a wizard we mortals can become, we never scratch more than the surface of the weave. Mystra keeps us in check. There are boundaries she doesn't let us cross. Yet, every time I was with her, I stood on the precipice, gazing into the wonders that lay beyond. I sought to cross her boundaries. Quite. I tried to convince her. I pouted. I pleaded. Swore my ambition was only to serve her better. But she only smiled and told me to be contented. But inconceivable as it seems to me now, I shared a bed with a goddess, and yet I wasn't satisfied. So I sought to prove myself worthy to her instead. We come now to the crux of my folly. Shall I share the story behind it, or would you rather head straight to its sordid finale? Very well. Here goes. Once upon a very long time ago, a mighty lord lived in a tower. A flying tower, to be precise. I'll save his history for another time, but the gist of it is that he sought to usurp the goddess of magic so that he could become a god himself. And he almost managed, but not quite. And his entire empire, Netheril, came crashing down around him as he turned to stone. The magic that was unleashed that day was phenomenal. Roiling like the prime chaos that outdates creation. Even the weave itself could not withstand the onslaught. It fractured, then shattered, and all magic was lost to the mortal realms, until the day Mystra returned. She restored the weave, reuniting all its scattered shards. Or so I thought. Until, in the course of my studies, I learned of a book. A Netherese tome in which a piece of the fractured weave had been sealed beyond her reach. What if, I thought, what if, after all this time, I could return this lost part of herself to the goddess? The answer was to try. And the outcome was to fail. I was certain that this deed of raw power, draped in romance, would convince Mystra to take me by the hand and welcome me into her hitherto forbidden domains. I was mistaken. I obtained the fabled book and took it into my study. As for what happened next... Here. Place your hand over my heart. Let me show you.
You feel the tadpole quiver as you realize Gale is letting you into the dark. You see through Gale's eyes, staring down the corridors of a dread memory. A book bound and suddenly opened. Inside there are no pages, only a swirling mass of blackest weave that pounces. Its teeth, its claws, it's unstoppable as it digs through and becomes part of you. And gods, is it ever hungry.
Thankfully, the moment I absorbed the fragment wasn't enough to kill me outright. It was only the beginning. This Netherese blight, this orb, for lack of a better word, is balled up inside my chest. And it needs to be fed. As long as I absorb traces of the weave from potent enough sources, it remains quiet. Were it ever to fully destabilize, however. I will erupt. I don't know the exact magnitude of the eruption, but given my studies of Netherese magic, I'd say even a fragment as small as the one I carry, it'd level a city the size of Waterdeep. Every waking moment. Every dreaming moment, too. But there was no way out. All of this. It must feel like a betrayal. Say the word, and we'll part ways. Once I'd step out of the protective aura of the artifact, it wouldn't be long before the Absolute overtakes me. I'd never let that happen, so I'd aim for a swift end. I would consume some midnight tears and venture as deep into the Underdark as I possibly could, till they cloud my eyes forever. With a bit of luck, I'd manage to make it to a mind-flare colony, so that when the orb erupts, one loud, last song of vengeance would reverberate through the dark. Wouldn't be a heroic end, but coarsely poetic enough in its justice. That is a great relief. Oh, a great relief indeed. You truly are a soul that steals my own. From all my new rallied heart, I thank you. I thank you all. I understand if you stand against me. I'm humbled if you stand with me. Either way, I will do my best not to let you down. I stand at a precipice, but if you do not give up hope, neither shall I. I'll fight. I'll resist as long as I can. Now, even I am tired of the sound of my own voice. Let us venture forth. Go ahead. I'm listening. I know what it is to hunger. And I know what it takes to keep that hunger under control. He's done that so far, despite his condition. So long as he sates his appetite elsewhere, I'm happy to give him the benefit of the doubt. Ah, yes. Karsus. Karsus was perhaps the most powerful wizard that ever lived. The child who would be a god, the elves called him. And he tried. With a spell of his own devising, he endeavored to usurp in one fell swoop the power of the goddess of magic. Mistral, she was called then. Imagine what it must have felt like. To be a god. To know yourself, to be untouchable. To be mistaken. As Karsus aimed his spell at her, she began to unravel. And with her, the entire weave. Too late did he realize what he had unleashed. It would have been the end of everything had not Mistral sacrificed herself. The goddess of magic is all magic. By dying, the entire weave was lost, and the spell that challenged a god failed. It was the end of Mistral, the end of Karsus, and the end of an entire civilization. As the child who would be a god was turned to stone, his empire came crashing down around him. The floating cities of Netheril were no more. An event that came to be known as Karsus's folly. Loving them has its side effects as well. Now, so many centuries later, I try to follow in the footsteps of Karsus. Not to destroy Mistra, but to prove my love for her. I tried to control only a fraction of the magic that was unleashed that fateful day. I merely sought to return one tiny diamond to an imperfect crown. Gale's folly, one might call it. History, repetition. It's the way things go. If it should ever come to that, if I ever know I am no longer able to stop it, I will do anything I can to ensure no one but me pays for my mistakes. I will find the remotest place on the surface of Faerun, or perhaps far below in the depths of the Underdark. I will await that death, alone. I promise I will not betray your trust. You kept me by your side despite the menace that I am. If worst comes to worst, I will be long gone before the curtain falls.
You carry a Githyanki relic. I will have an explanation. Or your head.
Walk away. Now. I won't warn you again.
Remove yourself if you're so easily offended. This is not your concern.
Nonsense. You're just finally showing us what you really are. A reaver to the bone.
Spare your indignity. Every word that spills from your mouth is worth less than the last.
Lae'zel thinks I have something important to her people. She's deluded, clear.
Lies. She carries an heirloom of my people. I must know why.
You hear that, Lae'zel? It's called common sense.
You seek reason in dishonor. Incorrect. Judicious bloodletting settles feuds and roots out the weak, the deceitful.
Do you hear this, Tripe? Our lives are at stake, and she wants us to turn on each other.
No others. Just you and me. The bad blood must be purged. A jewel, come first light.
You mean I'd get to prove you wrong and thrash you? I love it. Get some rest, Lae'zel. You'll need it. You had every chance to look the other way. But here we are. You chose this.
Spare me the justifications, coward!
If anyone asks, I'll say you were transforming. Don't expect to be mourned. She's a liability. It's the artifact we need, not her.
Let me up, and I'll show you. Surrender? A disgusting notion.
You had better warm to that notion very rapidly, or your journey ends here. We needn't be enemies. There's plenty of those to go around already.
What would you have? That we be friends?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But imagine what we might achieve if we channeled some of that hostility back at our real foes, instead of each other. They wouldn't stand a chance.
Very glad Shadowheart and Lae'zel settled things without letting any blood. I would have enjoyed the spectacle, but not losing either one of those lunatics.
I don't think there'll be any more trouble between Lae'zel and I, if you were wondering. We can all sleep easier now. Well, apart from all the rest. Relax. We'll kiss and make up on our own time. Someone prodding at a newly opened wound doesn't help matters.
Oh, I really thought Shadowheart and Lae'zel might fight to the death over that artifact. A pity. It would have made for a fine night's entertainment.
I hope that's the end of this silly quarrel. They'll have no energy for battling our enemies if Lae'zel and Shadowheart are too busy squabbling among themselves.
I'll say one thing for our troop. We're not short on drama. I'm glad Shadowheart and Lae'zel settled their differences peacefully. Eventually.
Speak. It is over where I am concerned. I will not be bearing the burden of the half-elf's deceit. She was the source of strife. I was the end of it. I suggest you turn your eye of judgment to her.